Being married to an Ossetic spouse is the worst thing that can happen to you because their first line of attack is your source of income. Once they've accomplished that, the rest would be easier. Now, aside being the type that don't keep so many friends, or perhaps you don't come from a big family that would most times be all up in your business, then that would be their next line of action, to eliminate them or isolate you. They will isolate you and make people believe all is going well in your marriage, whereas you're a prisoner in your own home. Now, 5 physical ways and 5 spiritual ways you can tell that your spouse is Ossetic. And please kill the mentality that every Ossetic person is rich. Now, the first physical way is that they will never compliment you except on the grounds of sex. Now, the second part we most times miss is that their gist is always centered around sex, horrible past events, and you can clearly see that they haven't repented from their ways. You would surely be the next lab rat. Another point is, when you talk good about yourself, they will down talk you and gradually gain access to the way you see yourself in the mirror. And with time, you start to see yourself in the mirror in the exact words they use on you, just like sagged boobs, sagged tummy, analog, outdated, second-hand, dollared, shapeless. In all my experience, and it isn't even top-notch yet, I have never seen a talkative witch or Ossetic member except they are trying to instigate you or they are among their own people. They are always attentive and vigilant to capture whatever good is happening around them, to note it and take their next line of attack. Now, this is 90% true, and the rest may be due to inferiority complex and all that. They avoid eye contact at all costs. Now, let's look into the spiritual factors. The number one is your dream will suddenly be about Big Brother scorpions or masquerades, or you just wandering in a vast land of total nothingness. The next point is that most times, if you're spiritually alert, you would feel as though you are always being followed. And it would even indicate in your dreams. Most times you might even see the exact creature following you. Now, the purpose of them monitoring you is because they do not want anyone close to you. So immediately they pick up a new being as a friend getting close to you, they would attack that person. And they do not want you seeking help. So when they look through their mirror or wherever they follow you to, which you could not or you can't even be able to see with your naked eyes, they would walk towards terminating that. And they are not also stupid, because they know that when you associate with people outside, the people outside might be able to read in what exactly would be happening in your house and might even volunteer to help you. I know of a specific woman who lost all her friends, not knowing her own spouse was responsible for all their deaths. Now, this is a bit tricky because they have actually evolved to a better way of hiding their altars. If you can recall, in our past Nollywood, you would see whereby the man would restrict people from entering a particular room. Okay, that was before. And I am sure maybe a few still do that. But the most likelihood of them keeping their altars would not be seen with the naked eyes, but they would still be in that room where you wake up and sleep as the wife. Now, the most controversial part, but I can tell you with 100% beating on my chest, that when you have an Ossetic spouse, they do not have boundaries to whomever they use sexually, spiritually. They change genders and they use their sons, their daughters, and even any visitor around at that point in their house. Number one indication is when you wake up in the morning and you feel as though you ran miles in your dream. Most times we end up blaming it on spiritual entities, not knowing it might actually be your mom or your dad. Speaking from the view of any of your children, because definitely marrying an Ossetic human being would doom your children and their future.